It took like 30 minutes for me to get these lenses in. They're supposed to be purple, but they're more like black, gray, blue-ish. I got them for my Yennefer cosplay. I posted a picture on Instagram. Yeah, it had a huge effect on me. Hello YouTube, my name is Sarah and welcome back to my channel. This is my third video in a series of videos about being intersex. If you haven't seen my intersex story video, I highly recommend you go check it out. I'll leave a card for it up here in the corner. So I have a condition called androgen insensitivity syndrome, which means I have XY chromosomes, but my body is phenotypically female. And this is because of a malfunction in my androgen receptors. This means that I had a hormone-producing gonads in my abdomen that were surgically removed in 2012. Already when I got my diagnosis, I had blood tests done to check my hormone levels, and I had very high testosterone levels and low estrogen levels. My doctor recommended I start hormone replacement therapy, and I got put on a low dose of an estradiol gel. This induced puberty, because before this, my body couldn't respond to the high levels of testosterone in my body, which would have developed me into a boy. And this is of course because of the faulty receptor. But the estrogen level in my body was too low to induce female puberty. So I was taking this dose, which was I think 0.5 milligram per day, and it was then gradually increased to 1 milligram, which I think was the dose that I was on when I went into the surgery in 2012. I chose the estrogen gel because it gets absorbed through the skin and therefore it doesn't get metabolized by the liver, so it's better for your body in the long run. I was a bit self-conscious about it at the start though, because I didn't know what to say to my friends when we were on overnight trips, for example. It's a pretty bulky package and it doesn't look like a normal cream at all. I later swapped over to pills because there were not many gel options here in Sweden, where I live right now. It's also easier because you can take the pills whenever. It basically looks like a birth control pill. With the gel, you can't apply it before showering, and it also leaves like a thin coat on your skin after it gets absorbed. So up until this point, I hadn't had any issues with my hormone replacement therapy. Puberty got induced, and I basically got a little bit wider around the hips, like my body fat got redistributed. My height growth stopped. My growth spurt was pretty late actually. I don't know why, but I basically grew the most between 7th and 9th grade in school, whereas I guess most people have their growth spurt before 6th grade. So I was a little bit late in that sense. Otherwise, my mood stayed pretty much the same. No huge mood swings. So it was after the surgery in 2012 that my issues really started. I had moved to Helsinki to pursue a degree in economics, and I was on my second year. It was springtime, and we had a few days off during Easter, so I found it to be the perfect time to schedule the surgery. Ever since I got diagnosed, my doctor wanted me to undergo the surgery because there is a slight risk that the undescended testes develop cancer. There was also an option to not undergo the surgery and have the gonads monitored every year. I just thought that, okay, it's better to have the surgery right now and then I won't have to think about it later. So my parents came down from my hometown and stayed with me before and after the surgery. The procedure was really quick, basically just a laparoscopic surgery where they do 3 incisions in your abdomen and then remove the gonads. There was minimal pain and I got to go home the same day. So with regards to my mental health, I didn't realize that this is where it started going downhill. Actually, it wasn't even the surgery. It was the fact that my hormone levels weren't adjusted afterwards. I had one checkup, but I think it was like a few weeks after. I think my hormone levels hadn't really adjusted themselves or like dropped yet, so I didn't feel any of the like negative side effects, I guess. Already that spring I had difficulties managing my studies and preparing for my exams. But in the summer, I didn't really notice any big changes. So I was working and then doing some basketball and spending the free time at my family's summer cottage. In the autumn, so this is now like 4 months after the surgery, when I was supposed to go back to uni, that's where it just went really, really bad. I had no drive basically to do anything. I wasn't officially dropped out because I still had a very positive mental attitude towards studying. Told myself that, okay, I can, get my shit together and basically next week I'll put in the work. But when the time came, there just wasn't the same drive that everyone has in their daily life to get the tasks done, go to work, go to school, do sports. I was struggling with basically everything. Eating, sleeping. It was the telltale signs of depression, but I hadn't experienced anything like that before. I've always been happy and positive, energetic, had a lot of friends. So this was completely new for me, and I don't know. It's very hard when you're in that headspace to, figure out what's going on. So this continued for about a year and a half. In retrospect, it's really stupid that I didn't do anything about it. My mom urged me to see the school counselor, but she couldn't really do anything about my mental health. She could just give tips when it came to studying. I should have really seen someone from the healthcare services to figure out that what was going on and that it, had to do with my surgery and the hormones, because I wasn't in med school at that time. I couldn't, make the connection. About a year later, I met my boyfriend or ex-boyfriend who was living in Germany, and my university had a mandatory exchange semester. So I applied to do my exchange semester in Germany, and I got a spot there and moved to Germany for what was supposed to be 6 months or something. But then when the time came to go back to Finland to finish my bachelor's degree, I just couldn't do it. I felt like there was this huge mountain of, pressure. I just couldn't. So I told my parents that I was gonna stay in Germany and work, that I needed to, mentally reset, I guess. And I ended up working in Germany for 1 year. So this time was pretty good time, I would say. I was working, so I guess I was high functioning. I made some new friends, some work when we traveled quite a lot around in Europe. But then my relationship ended and I decided to go back to Finland. The original plan was to continue with my degree, but my parents encouraged me to apply to medical school in Sweden, which was actually my dream. I had applied to med school already after high school in Finland. I got in. This was in 2016. So 4 years had passed since my surgery. I was super excited. It was a fresh start again. So yeah, the first 6 months were good. I was going to class, I was keeping up with the coursework, I made some friends, and I was exercising. I picked up basketball again. It was back in the autumn when things started going, south again. I don't know what triggered my depression this time, but I started falling behind, and by January I was going to bed super late, sleeping in late, barely eating, not going out, not seeing any friends. I didn't even wanna keep in touch with my family because I felt like I was, being a disappointment and failing them again. I was streaming during this time though, so that gave me at least a little bit of a routine. I usually started about 6 p.m. and I streamed until midnight. I was also playing or competing in a game called League of Legends. So I had a team there and we were playing tournaments and traveling to a few lands. So that was nice, gave me a little bit of a social context. The whole time, I wanted to study and I wanted to, become a doctor. It's very demanding, and when you fall a little bit behind, it's very hard to keep up, By the end of spring 2018, I was forced to take a break from studying. I had some unfinished exams that needed to be completed before I could continue. It took about a year. I met my boyfriend who moved to Sweden and lived with me because he had a flexible job. It helped me with routines, and eating and sleeping properly. So I think also that's like a trigger for me. If I'm not doing very well, it's detrimental for me to be alone. So the big change for the better basically came a year ago in January, before COVID. I had to renew my prescription here, so I contacted my doctor as per usual, but I think he was out of town, and I got another doctor who replied to me that I had to go see a gynecologist or an endocrinologist here. Until that point, I hadn't gone to a gynecologist here in Sweden. She also had me take some blood tests before going in. She basically told me that I could have been taking twice my current dose. So we gradually upped my dosage from 2 milligrams to 4 milligrams. This was also the time where our lectures and everything got moved to Zoom or then pre-recorded lectures. And I think this really helped me. I could watch the lectures on my own time as many times as I wanted. And yeah, morning lectures are just not my jam. So last spring, I passed all the exams that I was lacking, and this autumn I could actually continue medical school, and I'm now in my third year, and in the autumn I'm moving to Luleå, which is a city about like 230 kilometers north from here, to do my clinical semesters. So I'm really excited for that. And I'm also thankful to my doctor who basically figured out what was wrong with me and allowed me to continue living a normal life. I did, however, start therapy this week. On Monday, I saw my therapist for the first time. And I think it's gonna be great, even if I'm not depressed at the moment, but to talk about these difficult times in my life, because I'm sure it has affected me profoundly. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'm pretty sure this was everything that I wanted to say about HRT and mental health. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions, and yeah, I highly encourage you to go see your own doctor if you're experiencing these lows or lack of motivation and energy, because there might be an underlying issue such as hormones. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.